If you had told me going into my senior year in high school that I would have a moment of hitting a three at Duke in Cameron Indoor, I would have bet you literally 1,000,000 to 1 odds that that wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, that was me, hitting a three at Duke. Was it in garbage time? Yes. Was it one of very few points I ever scored in my college career? Also yes. But genuinely, I'll own it. Washed up athlete here. That was one of the best moments in my entire life. So in this video, I'm gonna try to tell you how that all happened, how my story went. As I mentioned, I wasn't an amazing college basketball player. I'm still not. This isn't like a, oh, I'm gonna tell you exactly, I'm so great, how I did it, blah, blah, blah. No, I mean, hopefully it'll be helpful, it'll be inspirational to at least a couple of you. Maybe no one cares, but I don't know, this is one of the first videos like this I've ever made, so I'm just gonna get into it and try to tell my story. So we'll try to keep it somewhat abbreviated. We're mostly gonna focus on high school. I'm not gonna take you guys all the way back and explain every basketball experience I had in my life, but I guess the short of it would be, growing up, I started playing basketball very young. It was always part of my life. Been playing for as long as I can remember. I was always tall. I'm 6'7", so that obviously helped with basketball. So I was always at least like, I mean, yeah, I was good. I definitely wasn't the best though. Was never the star of the team. I was usually a starter. I mean, playing like AAU or travel ball growing up, I went to like an elite team at one point and I got like 0 minutes. This was like 5th, 6th grade, like straight rode the bench. So I was good enough to be on that team. I was a good basketball player, but was far from a star, Going into high school, I was not one of the top recruits for high school. I was supposed to be one of the better players, but I wasn't one of the top guys there. But yeah, I was supposed to have a pretty good high school basketball career. Once again, I was tall. I think going in I was 6'3", so not extremely tall, but pretty tall for a freshman. But things didn't really go my way. I got injured. I broke my foot and hurt my knee, so I barely played freshman year. Sophomore year, I was off the bench on JV as a sophomore. I wasn't 100% healthy. But then junior year, getting to the part of the story that you guys probably actually care about. It was a question. I remember this, it broke me at the time because one of the star players was telling me, he's like, yeah, I don't even know if you're gonna make varsity, man. That's gonna be tough for you. He was kind of like talking, but I was like, maybe he's right. What if my basketball career is over? I was doing crew. I thought basketball really might have been over for me. I was supposed to have surgery on my knee. Some doctor randomly told me that. Thankfully, I didn't do it. But anyway, so going into junior year, I did end up making varsity. I thought I was lower on the totem pole, but once again, I was 6'7" already at this point. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna play some sort of role for varsity basketball here. But that never really materialized. Towards the beginning of the season, I got some minutes. I missed that. Well, this is a story for a whole nother video. It actually changed my life. I missed like a pretty easy layup to beat a team that we were supposed to beat. And I think that kind of just like, it hurt my confidence. It hurt my coach's confidence in me. There's another crazy story that goes along with that, but we'll save that for another video. So yeah, short of it, I remember the biggest game of our junior year, Bruce Mahoney. Wow, I was so excited. It's played at USF, which is the Division I school there. Huge crowd, everything. It's crazy in there. I was so excited in front of my family and friends. And like, usually I had been like getting spot minutes, right? I was still playing. I was like the 8th or 9th man in the rotation. So I was at least getting in the game. I was so excited. I didn't play a single minute that game. And I couldn't believe it. I was really, really sad. And this was like really the turning point of my whole life. Like, I remember an AAU coach who I didn't know him at the time, just came up to me after the game and he just said like, hey, that's never gonna happen again. Like, what happened? I can't believe you didn't play a minute. Work with me, that's never gonna happen again. And yeah, that was really like a turning point. I'm gonna explain exactly what happened. It wasn't just all up from there. I turned into like the best basketball player in the world because it didn't happen. But I did, I worked very hard. So that's a big part of this story, I would say. It wasn't, the answer to this isn't as simple as like, oh, I just worked so hard. I did work really hard that summer. I worked on my body. I was running sand hills, being around good players, just being around basketball, kind of like looking at it like I have nothing to lose almost. I don't know, working with that coach really changed everything for me. I remember too, there was like, played AAU with him. There was a lot of like D1 guys on that team, and my confidence was so low at the time. You know, it was the final play of the game, and he drew it up. He's like, all right, Troy, come off, and you're gonna shoot the shot. And I literally, in the huddle, I go to him, I say, are you sure? And then he like cuts, he's like, are you fucking serious, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, no, you're taking the shot. I wish I could lie to you and say I came off, made it, and then changed my whole life. I definitely missed. I'm not even sure the ball went to me. I don't think the play ended up working out. But yeah, it was a huge summer for me. I worked really hard. I did get a lot better, and I was ready going into my senior year of high school. So yeah, senior year of high school came. You know, a lot of people had graduated. I was a starter, and I played really well. I ended up, you know, we had a good season. We won like our little section title. We should have won our league title. We were right there. Had some really good players. Again, I was definitely at best the third best player on that team. I made like all San Francisco, like third team, all league. Second team. It might have been honorable mention, but I was good enough to be recognized. But once again, I was not an MVP of the league. I was not one of the best players. And that still leaves us at the point, like I was saying, it's not like that summer just flipped everything. You know, how do you go to D1 from being the third best player on a good high school team, but we weren't like Montverde or like Findlay Prep or anything crazy. I had some looks from smaller schools, Division 3s for sure. Some Division 2s like kind of talked to me. You know, definitely a lot of JUCOs and stuff like that, but it just, none of them were the right fit. Like I was always really focused on like school. Like I never had this huge, to be honest, like I never had a huge, like basketball wasn't my only thing. Like I enjoyed it. I really wanted to do it. I wanted to play in college, but it wasn't like basketball in college or bust. Like I was being a regular student actually for pretty much my whole senior year of high school. I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to play in college. I'm just going to be a regular student. So when it came down to it, I chose Wake Forest University in North Carolina just to go as a regular student. I was like, you know what, I could play basketball somewhere else, but this is the best school it's the best. I mean, the biggest thing was it was the best school I got into. Like I didn't want to compromise my future and my academics just for basketball. I mean, maybe other people, everyone has a different path, but for me, I was like, okay, I have to go. I have to do this. So I was going on campus. I think I did. You know what? It's funny. I'm making a whole video. I don't even remember how the story went exactly. I think I did email the coaches over the summer. Like my parents told me, like, just at least email them. They're like, oh, you know how parents are. Just email them. I'm sure they have a spot on the team for you. So I sent them an email. I don't think I even got a response with my highlight tapes, like just normal. Didn't get a response. So I was like, okay, well, at least I, shut my parents up. Showed up on campus. Once again, I wish I could tell you the fairy tale story of like, oh, I worked my butt off and I told myself no one was going to beat me. Like, no, I didn't think I was going to play. Like my first week of college was like the most partying I've ever done in my life. I was just content just to be a regular student. But then, so I was playing club basketball just for fun. I did really well with that. I started working out with they needed some help with the women's team. So I just helped them one day. And I wish, this is the greatest storyteller of all time. Someone, like the club guy was like, I think one of the women's coaches told me that maybe you should work out for the men's team to help them out, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, okay. I didn't even know exactly what he was saying, but I did get an email. I got an email from the men's team telling me like, hey, like we're looking for walk-ons. Are you interested in trying out? I was like, yeah, for sure. I did. Like, I thought there was literally a 0%. I forget exactly how they worded it, but even at this point, I'm like, there's 0% chance. I think they said they were looking for like practice players or something like that. So I was like, yeah, me being on the team, never gonna happen. But long story short, I showed up to the workout. It was me and one other guy trying out, and we played against the current walk-ons on the team, and I did pretty good. I definitely didn't kill it. I was out of shape. I had not been playing as much basketball as I probably should have. But I was there, played, and then they said, okay, we'll call you back, and like we're gonna do another week or something crazy like that. So I was like, okay, sounds good, let's do it. And then it was the very next day, I got a text, and it's like, what's your shoe size? What's your tops? Like a bunch of my sizing and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, why do they need this? Sent it all off, showed up at the gym the next day, and they're like, okay, you're on the team. And I was like, it's just crazy how this whole thing happened. Like I said, I did pretty well at that trial, but it's not like I killed it. I wasn't destroying anyone. and it was just all such a whirlwind. Like I called my parents. I remember looking at, it was just the backpack. I was looking at the Wake Forest basketball backpack in my room, and I couldn't believe it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you had told me from there to playing Division I just never would have believed it. And yeah, that was, you know, I ended up playing 4 years there, and then I played overseas in the Philippines for the past 4 years, and it's really been a crazy ride. You know, I wish that I could, you know, I want this video to be helpful, right? So I wish I could tell you, but it's also hard to tell a whole story and also give you like step-by-step guides for in a short little video here. I would say the main thing is, one, like, don't be too caught up in like where you are when you're young, because if someone's better than you or you're not the best player when you're in 6th grade, like ask anyone who's, it doesn't matter at all. Even freshman year, sophomore year, basically even junior year of high school, it doesn't matter. Things are gonna change so much. Like the biggest thing for me was I just kept playing and like focusing and working and sticking with something I loved. And like I got very lucky. Like things just happened to fall into place, but just the fact that I stuck with it and didn't give up, like you have to do that to even give yourself a chance to be in that type of situation. So yeah, I mean, I want to get into more of like the nitty gritty and stuff like that. Maybe no one will watch this video. There's probably a pretty big chance of that, to be honest. But if anyone does, like drop a comment. I can share more about my experience and like specific things you have questions on. But hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe.